Food as a way to discover the world. Level C1. Advance. Food is one of the most universal aspects of human life, yet it is also one of the most diverse. Every culture, every region, and even every family has its own culinary identity, a set of flavors, habits, and traditions that reflect not just what people eat, but who they are. When we taste food from another country, we are not simply consuming ingredients, we are experiencing history, geography, economics, migration, creativity, and human connection. In many ways, food is a window into the soul of the world and a powerful way to discover it. 1. Food as a cultural passport. It is often said that if you want to understand a culture, you should start with its cuisine. Food reflects the values, beliefs, and rhythms of daily life. It tells us what people respect, fear, celebrate, and remember. In Japan, the careful preparation of sushi is more than a culinary technique. It reveals a cultural emphasis on precision, purity, and harmony. In Italy, long lunches and shared dishes highlight the importance of family and community. In Mexico, vibrant spices and layered flavors echo a history shaped by native traditions, Spanish influence, and regional diversity. When we try food from another culture, we participate even briefly in its worldview. We taste its climate, its traditions, its struggles, and its joys. 2. Food as history on a plate. Cuisine is a living record of the past. It carries memories of trade routes, wars, colonization, migration, and innovation. Consider how many ingredients we view as traditional are actually the result of centuries of movement across continents. Tomatoes, now central to Italian cooking, originated in the Americas. Chili peppers, essential to South Asian and African cuisines, also began their journey in Central and South America. Potatoes, today a staple in Eastern Europe, China, and India, were once unknown outside the Andes. Even the spices that shaped global empires, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, pepper, moved across oceans long before airplanes existed. When we explore global foods, we reveal hidden histories of human exchange. A bowl of curry tells the story of spice routes. A cup of tea carries centuries of trade and colonial influence. Even humble bread reflects agricultural revolutions that changed human civilization. Food allows us to taste history not as something distant, but as something alive. 3. Food and geography. The taste of place. Human diets are deeply shaped by geography. Mountains, oceans, deserts, and rivers determine which ingredients are available, which techniques develop, and how communities survive. In the Mediterranean, warm climates support olive trees, vineyards, and aromatic herbs. These ingredients form the foundation of Greek, Italian, and Spanish cooking. In contrast, Nordic cuisine developed in a colder climate, leading to preservation methods like smoking, fermenting, and salting. Geography also shapes eating habits. Coastal cultures rely heavily on seafood. Mountain communities use hardy grains and preserved meats. Tropical regions incorporate fruits, spices, and vibrant vegetables. This relationship between food and landscape is often described by the French term terroir, the idea that a place's soil, climate, and culture create unique flavors. When we taste regional foods, we experience the essence of a landscape without physically being there. 4. Migration and fusion. How food travels. Migration has always been a powerful force in shaping food cultures. When people move, they carry recipes, spices, and traditions with them. In new environments, these culinary memories blend with local ingredients and practices, creating new dishes. Vietnamese banh mi combines French baguettes with local flavors like cilantro, pickled vegetables, and chili. Peruvian cuisine mixes Spanish, indigenous, African, Chinese, and Japanese influences, producing a uniquely diverse national identity. Caribbean dishes reflect a complex history of indigenous culture, African heritage, and European colonialism. Fusion food is not a modern trend, it is a centuries-old process of adaptation. Today, however, globalization accelerates cultural exchange. A person in Berlin, Sao Paulo, or Seoul can taste dozens of world cuisines without leaving their neighborhood. Through migration, food becomes a bridge between old identities and new ones, helping people stay connected to their roots while exploring new possibilities. 5. Street food, the heartbeat of everyday life. If restaurants are the formal ambassadors of a culture, street food is its beating heart. Street vendors capture the everyday essence of a place, its sounds, smells, energy, and personality. Street food often tells a story of the working class, resourcefulness, and creativity. Tacos in Mexico City, pad thai in Bangkok, currywurst in Berlin, and falafel in Cairo all began as affordable meals for local people. Over time, they became national symbols. Street food also brings strangers together. Sharing a snack at a market stall or sitting at a crowded table creates unexpected connections. Travelers who want to understand a city often skip fancy restaurants and go straight to the streets, where the real culture lives. Street food is immediate, unfiltered, and authentic. It is the culinary equivalent of learning a language from native speakers, not from textbooks. 6. Rituals and traditions. Food as memory. Food carries profound emotional weight. It marks celebrations, holidays, and life transitions. It strengthens family bonds and preserves cultural memory. In many cultures, cooking certain dishes is a tradition passed from one generation to the next. Making Thanksgiving dinner in the United States, preparing dumplings for Lunar New Year in China, baking special breads for Christmas in Eastern Europe. All these activities connect people to their heritage. Even everyday rituals matter. Drinking tea in Morocco follows a slow, graceful ceremony. Sharing meze in the Middle East represents hospitality and generosity. Preparing Ethiopian injera involves communal effort and shared eating, emphasizing unity and trust. These rituals transform food into something greater than nourishment. They become a way to honor ancestors, express identity, and sustain cultural continuity. 7. Food and identity, who we are and what we eat. Our food choices reveal how we see ourselves. What we eat and what we refuse to eat can express our values, beliefs, and identities. Some people follow religious dietary rules, such as halal, kosher, or vegetarian traditions rooted in spirituality. Others adapt their eating habits based on health concerns, ethics, or environmental awareness. Some reject the food of their childhood to embrace new lifestyles, while others cling to familiar dishes as emotional anchors. Food can also be political. Choosing local products supports regional farmers. Preferring organic foods reflects environmental values. Avoiding certain brands may express resistance to corporate practices. In multicultural societies, Food often becomes a way to negotiate identity. Children of immigrants, for example, may use food to balance the culture of their family with the culture of their country. For them, cooking traditional dishes is both a connection to heritage and an act of self-definition. 8. Food as emotional experience. Taste is deeply connected to memory. A single flavor can bring back moments from childhood, remind us of people we love, or evoke places we once lived. This emotional dimension turns eating into a form of storytelling. The smell of freshly baked bread can evoke comfort and security. A spicy dish may awaken memories of family gatherings. A dessert tasted abroad can transport a traveler back to a distant city. Emotional eating is not always nostalgic. Food can also express joy, curiosity, surprise, and even fear, as when someone tries an unusual ingredient for the first time. This connection between food and emotion makes culinary exploration not just intellectual, but deeply personal. 9. Traveling through food without leaving home. While traveling the world is the most direct way to explore global cuisine, it is not the only one. In today's interconnected world, people can discover new cultures through food even without crossing borders. Cookbooks, documentaries, online tutorials, and international markets allow anyone to bring global flavors into their home kitchen. Preparing a Japanese ramen bowl, an Indian biryani, or a Moroccan tagine can feel like a journey in itself. Cooking from another culture also encourages respect. Understanding the labor, ingredients, and traditions behind a dish helps us appreciate the people who created it. It reminds us that food is not just a product but a cultural expression. Even small acts like trying a new spice or tasting a traditional dessert can expand our worldview. 10. Hospitality and human connection. Food is a universal language of hospitality. Offering a meal is one of the oldest ways to welcome strangers, create friendships, and build trust. In many cultures, refusing food is considered rude because sharing a meal is seen as sharing life. Sitting around a table breaks down barriers, encourages conversation, and creates a sense of unity. Travelers often remember the people who offered them food more vividly than the landmarks they visited. A homemade dish can create stronger cultural understanding than any museum or guidebook. Food builds bridges where words sometimes fail. 11. The social life of food. Food is rarely eaten alone, at least not historically. For most of human existence, meals were communal events that held social meaning. Sharing food helped build alliances, maintain family structures, and strengthen communities. In many cultures, invitations to lunch or dinner are gestures of respect. Hosting a guest means offering them the best you have, sometimes even more than you can easily afford. In South Asia, a visitor is often greeted with tea, sweets, or fruit. In Greece, you may be invited to a feast, even by people you've just met. In many African societies, preparing food together is a powerful act of unity. Even the structure of meals varies across cultures. Some societies focus on long, slow dinners filled with conversation. Others prefer quick eating, emphasizing efficiency and time. Some cultures eat from shared plates. Others have strict boundaries around personal portions. These patterns reveal deeper values: collectivism versus individualism, hospitality versus privacy, tradition versus modernity. To observe how a culture eats is to observe how it lives. 12. Climate change and the future of global cuisine. As the planet's climate changes, so too does its food. Rising temperatures, shifting rainfall, and extreme weather events threaten crops, fisheries, and livestock. This reshapes not only what we eat, but also the cultural meaning of food. Certain foods may disappear or become luxury items. Coffee, chocolate, bananas, and some spices face uncertain futures as their growing regions become unstable. Traditional dishes may need to adapt to new ingredients as old ones become scarce. At the same time, climate challenges inspire innovation. Urban farming, vertical gardens, and lab-grown food aim to reduce environmental pressure. Some chefs and researchers explore forgotten ingredients or indigenous farming techniques as sustainable alternatives. Understanding food today means understanding our environmental future. Culinary traditions are not fixed. They evolve alongside the planet. 13. Food politics. Power, inequality, and access. Food is deeply political. Access to nutritious meals is not equal around the world. While some countries struggle with obesity caused by overconsumption, others face hunger due to poverty, conflict, or unstable governments. Policies around land use, trade agreements, agricultural subsidies, and labor rights shape global food systems. Even a simple fruit in a supermarket may involve complex political and economic decisions. For example, the high demand for avocados has caused environmental strain in some regions, including deforestation and water shortages. The global fish industry raises questions about sustainability and ethical practices. Chocolate production is connected to issues of fair trade and child labor. When we explore food, we also explore justice: who gets to eat well, who controls resources, and who benefits from global markets. 14. Culinary diplomacy. When nations communicate through food. Food can also resolve conflicts, build relationships, and promote peace. Governments and diplomats increasingly use culinary diplomacy to improve international relations. Sharing national dishes at official events helps create positive impressions and open dialogue. South Korea has promoted kimchi and Korean cuisine worldwide to strengthen cultural influence. Thailand invests in international Thai restaurants as part of its global cultural strategy. Japan uses sushi as a symbol of precision, tradition, and quality. Culinary diplomacy shows that food can be both soft power and cultural communication. It turns meals into tools of understanding and cooperation. 15. Fine dining. Art on a plate. At the highest level, food becomes art. Fine dining restaurants experiment with texture, temperature, geometry, and storytelling. Chefs design tasting menus that guide diners through a sensory journey. A single bite may require hours of preparation, rare ingredients, and advanced techniques. This form of cooking often reflects cultural narratives. Scandinavian chefs highlight local landscapes through minimalist flavors. Latin American chefs revive ancient ingredients such as corn varieties and herbs. Japanese kaiseki chefs treat every element of the meal as a delicate ceremony. Fine dining is not accessible to everyone, but it demonstrates how food can push creative boundaries. It shows that cuisine, like painting or music, can express complex ideas and emotions. 16. The science behind flavor. Exploring the world through food also means exploring science. Taste is not simply a matter of the tongue. It involves smell, texture, temperature, memory, and even sound. The same dish can taste different depending on context, who we are with, where we are, or what mood we are in. Chefs and scientists now collaborate in the field of food science and gastronomy. They study how ingredients interact, why certain flavors complement each other, and how to create new sensations. For example, pairing chocolate with blue cheese works because both contain similar aromatic compounds. The umami taste, discovered in Japan, explains why broth, soy sauce, and mushrooms feel so satisfying. Fermentation not only preserves food but also transforms flavor through complex chemical reactions. Understanding flavor science helps us appreciate food in a deeper, more analytical way, not just as pleasure, but as a multisensory experience. 17. Food tourism. Exploring cultures through taste. Food tourism has become one of the fastest-growing travel trends. Many travelers now choose destinations based on their culinary reputation. They follow food documentaries, celebrity chefs, and social media recommendations to discover unique flavors. Food tourism goes beyond eating in restaurants. It includes visiting food markets, taking cooking classes, exploring regional farms, tasting street food, attending harvest festivals, meeting local producers. Through these experiences, travelers learn about agriculture, tradition, and daily life. They support local economies and connect with communities in meaningful ways. Food becomes both a guide and a destination. 18. Ethical eating, a modern challenge. As people become more aware of global issues, ethical eating becomes more important. Consumers ask difficult questions. Where does my food come from? Who produced it? Is it sustainable? Was it made with respect for animals, workers, and the environment? Movements such as vegetarianism, veganism, and zero-waste cooking reflect ethical concerns. Local food movements encourage buying seasonal produce from nearby farmers. Some people reduce meat consumption to lower their environmental impact. Ethical eating is not only about personal health, it is about responsibility to the planet and future generations. In this way, food becomes a moral compass. 19. Food as creative expression. Cooking is a form of creativity similar to writing, painting, or composing music. It involves imagination, experimentation, and personal style. For many people, cooking is a way to relax, express emotions, or connect with others. Dishes can be playful, symbolic, nostalgic, or innovative. A home cook may create new versions of traditional foods, blending memories with inspiration from other cultures. A chef may challenge diners with unexpected combinations or artistic presentations. Through cooking, people tell stories about their lives. A recipe becomes a message, a memory, or a signature. 20. The global kitchen, when everyone's food becomes everyone's culture. In the modern world, food cultures are increasingly interconnected. Globalization has made it easy to access ingredients that were once rare or unknown. A kitchen in London can prepare Japanese miso soup, Indian curry, and Italian risotto in the same day. This cultural mixing can lead to creativity and new discoveries, but it also raises questions about authenticity and appropriation. When is using another culture's ingredients a form of respect, and when is it exploitation? How can we enjoy global cuisine while honoring the origins of its traditions? The global kitchen invites us to explore, but also to reflect. 21. Memory, nostalgia, and the taste of home. For many people, the flavor of home is irreplaceable. Immigrants often recreate traditional dishes to stay connected to their origins. The smell of a familiar soup or the texture of a childhood dessert can ease homesickness and strengthen identity. Even people who never left their homeland can feel nostalgia for meals prepared by grandparents or for dishes associated with childhood celebrations. Food has the power to preserve memories more vividly than photographs or words. This emotional bond shows why culinary heritage is worth protecting. When recipes disappear, part of a culture disappears with them. 22. Food and storytelling. Narratives beyond the plate. Every dish tells a story of a place, a moment, a family, or a tradition. Storytelling brings food to life. Restaurants increasingly highlight the stories behind their menus, where the ingredients came from, who grew them, why certain techniques were chosen. Food writers, filmmakers, and journalists explore the human stories behind iconic dishes, revealing the labor, history, and emotions that create them. On a personal level, people share recipes online as a way to share experiences. A photo of a homemade meal on social media may include memories, cultural reflections, or family histories. Food becomes literature, cinema, and conversation. 23. The psychology of taste. How the mind shapes flavor. Taste is shaped not only by the senses but also by expectations, emotions, and cultural conditioning. Two people tasting the same dish may perceive it differently based on their upbringing, personality, or mood. Psychologists study how color, presentation, and even background music affect flavor perception. A dessert may taste sweeter if served on a white plate. A spicy dish may feel more intense if eaten in a loud, crowded restaurant. Understanding the psychology of taste helps explain why food can be such a powerful cultural and emotional experience. 24. Cooking as connection. How food brings people together. Whether at home or in restaurants, cooking can unite people. Preparing a meal with others requires communication, cooperation, and trust. Families create traditions through cooking. Friends bond over shared recipes. Romantic relationships often deepen through meals cooked together. Community kitchens, food charities, and volunteer groups also use cooking to support those in need. Food becomes an act of care and solidarity. It creates social bridges between people of different backgrounds. In a world where people often feel disconnected, food reminds us that we are part of a larger human community. 25. Conclusion. Food as the world's most delicious guide. Food is not just nourishment. It is history, geography, memory, identity, science, and art. It is a form of communication and a tool for understanding. When we explore food, we explore humanity itself. Through flavors and textures, we discover the landscapes, traditions, and values of distant cultures. Through shared meals, we build relationships. Through cooking, we express creativity. Through ethical choices, we shape the future of the planet. Food is, perhaps, the most delicious way to discover the world one bite at a time.